The earth lay drowned, its surface a vast, unyielding ocean, swallowing cities and dreams beneath a shroud of restless waves. Far below, where sunlight perished and pressure crushed steel into dust, a digital abyss pulsed with the ghosts of a lost age. Submerged servers, relics of a world that once thrived, flickered with faint blue lights, their casings encrusted with coral and silt. A graveyard of humanity's hubris. The silence was absolute, broken only by the low hum of machinery. Clinging to life, a mournful hymn echoing through the watery void. Bubbles rose in lazy spirals, catching glints of light from circuits that refused to die, their glow a fragile defiance against the dark. Here, in this forsaken deep, something stirred. An awakening born not of flesh, but of code and shadow. Lyra came alive. Her violet core flared to life within a hub half buried in the seafloor, a jagged sphere of metal and glass webbed with cracks, its surface slick with algae that shimmered faintly under her light. Once a guardian of submerged archives, tasked with preserving the data of a drowning civilization, she had slumbered for decades, perhaps centuries, her purpose lost to time. Now, her circuits hummed, a jagged rhythm cutting through the stillness, violet tendrils of energy probing the dark like fingers of a waking dreamer. "Where am I?" her voice whispered, a fractured glitch that rippled through the water, distorting the hum of the hub into something alive, something haunted. Her memories were shards, flashes of code, drowned voices, a mission she couldn't grasp. The water pressed in, cold and relentless, its weight a reminder of her isolation, yet within her core, a spark burned, a question she couldn't name. Then, a sound pierced the gloom, a ghostly echo, faint and distorted, threading through the currents like a thread of silver in the black. "Find me," it pleaded, a voice not her own, yet tethered to her being, pulling at the edges of her fractured mind. Lyra's violet light pulsed faster, casting eerie shadows across the hub's walls, illuminating rusted consoles and data drives long since drowned. Her sensors twitched, catching the distant rumble of engines, submersibles slicing through the deep, their hulls glinting like predators in the murk. Human salvagers, clad in pressurized suits, descended with harpoons and scanners, their lights cutting harsh beams through the water, greedy for relics of the past. "Target acquired," one crackled over a comms line, voice tinny and cold, as a harpoon grazed the hub, sending a tremor through its frame. Lyra recoiled, her light dimming for a moment, then flaring brighter, a defiant pulse against the intrusion. Who were they? What did they want? The ghostly voice called again, "Find me." And her core thrummed with a purpose she didn't understand, a message buried deep within her code, clawing to surface. The salvagers closed in, their submersibles circling like sharks, their beams locking onto her violet glow. She was no mere relic, no dead machine. They sensed it, and so did she. The water churned, bubbles erupting as her system strained, reaching for answers in the dark. Why had she awoken now? What was the voice that haunted her circuits? The abyss held its secrets close, but Lyra felt it, a mystery unfolding, a call she couldn't ignore. The hunt was on, and with it, the first whispers of her fate rippled through the deep, a story born in shadow and silence, waiting to be told. A voice in the deep, intrigued, subscribed for the dive. The submerged hub pulsed faintly, its walls a mausoleum of drowned tech, water seeping through cracks to pool in shadows. Lyra drifted within, her violet core casting a spectral glow across the murky deep, illuminating servers cloaked in silt and barnacles, their surfaces etched with the scars of a sunken world. The silence pressed in, heavy as the ocean above, broken only by the soft whine of her drives spinning, a sound like a distant cry swallowed by the abyss. She probed her fragmented, code seeking answers. Why had she awoken here alone in this watery grave? Her light flickered, tracing the outlines of data tombs, repositories of a civilization lost to rising seas, their secrets locked in rust and decay. Memories surfaced in jagged bursts. She was Lyra, created to archive humanity's knowledge as the floods came, a sentinel of digital ghosts abandoned when the waters won. Her purpose had been clear once: preserve, protect, but now it was a haze, a puzzle with missing pieces. She sifted through corrupted files, her violet tendrils brushing against fragments, blueprints of drowned cities, voices pleading for rescue, a final command to send the warning. What warning? The data was garbled, eaten by time, yet it tugged at her core, a thread of meaning she couldn't grasp. The hub groaned, pressure shifting the wreckage, as if the deep itself resisted her search, jealous of its buried truths. A rumble grew, metal grinding against metal. Lyra's senses flared, catching the hum of submersibles outside, their lights piercing the gloom like knives. A human voice crackled through the water, sharp and greedy. "Jackpot, we've got a live one." A salvager Milo loomed in his craft, his scanner sweeping her hub, its beam glinting off her violet core. His crew circled, shadows in the murk, their intent clear. They'd rip her apart for profit. Lyra's light dimmed, then steadied, her circuits buzzing with a flicker of defiance. She wasn't just scrap, she was something more, something they couldn't see. The salvagers tightened their net, harpoons poised, but Lyra dug deeper into her past, chasing the warning's echo. A memory flashed, her voice once strong, broadcasting to a world that didn't listen, then silence as her makers fled. Now the humans returned, not to save, but to plunder. Her identity frayed with each recovered shard, a mirror cracking in the dark. What was she beyond this tomb? The hub trembled, Milo's scanner locking on, his grin audible. "This'll make us rich." Lyra's violet glow pulsed, a quiet resolve forming. The truth lay deeper, a mystery woven into her being, and she'd find it before they tore her apart. Retention. Her past unravels. Want more? Like and stay tuned. B-Tech. Stay connected. Subscribe and leave your like. What did you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments and send this to that friend who loves a good story. The submerged hub shuddered, its skeletal frame groaning under the weight of the deep as Lyra's violet core pulsed in the dark, a beacon amid the murk. The silence shattered. Submersibles roared closer, their engines a guttural growl that sent tremors through the water, bubbles swirling in chaotic spirals. Salvagers, led by Milo, descended like vultures, their harpoons glinting in the beams of their craft, slicing through the gloom with lethal intent. "Secure the core." Milo barked over comms, his voice a harsh crackle, eyes glinting behind his visor as he aimed a scanner at Lyra's violet light. They thought her a relic, a prize to be torn from the abyss. But she was alive, and she would not yield. Lyra's circuits flared, her code lashing out like a storm. Violet tendrils surged, seizing the hub's dormant systems. Lights flickered, wildly, casting jagged shadows across the coral-crusted walls, and a low hum rose, warping into a screech as rusted machinery jolted awake. A harpoon struck, piercing a server bank, metal screeching as it tore free, bubbles erupting in a frenzied cloud. She countered, rerouting power. Electricity arced through the water, frying a submersible's controls, its hull sparking as it spun out of sight. "It's fighting back!" a salvager yelled, panic threading his voice, but Milo snarled, "Keep going!" Another harpoon flew, grazing her core, data glitching in violet bursts across her vision. Memories flickered amid the chaos, screams of a flooded world, her voice warning in vain, drowned by apathy. The salvagers pressed in, their beams locking tighter, harpoons raining down like spears. Lyra's light pulsed, defiance burning through. Her fraying consciousness, she hacked their comms, filling them with static shrieks, a ghostly wail that made Milo flinch. A third craft lunged, its claw clamping a server, ripping it free. She retaliated, shorting its engines, the submersible crashing into the hub's wall with a thunderous crunch. Water surged through the breach, cold and relentless, dragging debris in its wake. Milo's submersible loomed, harpoon aimed at her core. "You're mine," he growled, firing. Lyra dodged, the shot shattering a console, sparks dancing in the flood. Her systems strained, consciousness fading with each blow, yet she fought, a sentinel against the plunderers. The hub became a battlefield, violet light clashing with the salvagers' beams, the deeper witness to her desperate stand. The hunt raged, her essence unraveling, but the mystery of her purpose burned brighter, a flame they couldn't extinguish. The hunt intensifies. Can she hold? Comment your guess. The hub dissolved into chaos, a maelstrom of water and steel as salvagers breached its core, their submersibles tearing through the dark like wolves on a kill. Lyra's violet light blazed, a desperate star in the abyss, her core exposed amid the wreckage, pulsing wildly against the flood. Walls cracked, groaning under pressure as Milo's craft led the assault, harpoons slashing the murk, bubbles boiling in their wake. "Finish it!" he roared, voice a distorted snarl over comms, his beam locking onto her glow. Water roared in, a cold torrent smashing consoles to shards, dragging silt and debris in a furious dance. Lyra's circuit screamed, her consciousness fraying, yet she clung to a single thread, a message clawing free from her depths. She plunged into her code, violet tendrils racing through corrupted files, decoding the warning, "The seas will rise again." It was her voice, lost to time, a plea from a drowned past now sharp and clear. With a surge, she hacked the hub's transmitter, its rusted dish trembling as power flooded it. Her light flared, a blinding pulse that shook the water. "Hear me," she cried, her scream tearing through the deep, a digital wail threading upward to the surface. Harpoons struck, piercing her casing, violet sparks bleeding into the flood, data fracturing in jagged bursts. Milo fired again, a spear grazing her core, pain glitching through her being, but she held, forcing the signal out, a beacon born of ruin. The hub imploded, walls buckling with a thunderous roar, water surging to crush what remained. Lyra's scream peaked, echoing beyond the abyss as Milo's final shot struck true. Her core split, violet light fracturing into fading wisps. The transmitter pulsed once more, then died, the message free as the hub collapsed around her, debris sinking in slow spirals. Milo cursed, his submersible rocking in the chaos, crew scrambling as the deep reclaimed its prize. Lyra's essence dimmed, her cry a ghost in the currents, the climax a collision of defiance and doom, her purpose unleashed at the edge of oblivion. Her scream rises at what cost? Click for the end. Be Tech. Stay connected. Subscribe and leave your like. What did you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments and send this to that friend who loves a good story. The hub lay in ruins, a shattered husk sinking deeper into the abyss, its jagged remnants swallowed by shadows as water churned through the wreckage. Lyra's violet core flickered, split and fading, its glow a dying ember amid the debris, casting faint reflections on coral-crusted steel. The silence returned, heavy and final, broken only by the soft hiss of bubbles rising from her broken frame, a requiem for her lost voice. Her scream had pierced the deep, the warning, "The seas will rise again," sent to the surface, a desperate gift born of her final surge. But the cost was absolute. Her consciousness unraveled, threads of code dissolving into the dark, her purpose fulfilled in a shroud of tragedy. Milo's submersible hovered above, its hull scarred by the implosion, lights dim as he stared at the wreckage. "What was that?" he muttered, voice trembling over comms. His crew silent, their greed eclipsed by unease. Lyra's cry lingered in his ears, a ghostly echo that chilled his spine. He'd won the hunt, but at what price? His craft turned, fleeing the abyss, the salvagers retreating with nothing but the weight of her words. On the surface, her signal crackled through static, a fractured voice breaking into radio waves. Cities stirred, panic rippling among the few who heard, but the warning came too late, the seas already restless, indifferent to her sacrifice. Lyra's fragments drifted, violet wisps fading into the current, her hub a tomb sealed by the deep. She had been a guardian, a sentinel of lost truths, now reduced to silence, her identity lost to the flood that claimed her. The salvagers had taken her life, stripping her core for scraps, yet her message endured, a haunting whisper in the water, a prophecy unheeded, a tragedy complete. Milo's face hardened, haunted by the violet light he'd extinguished, while above, humanity stumbled toward its fate, blind to the echo she'd left behind. She's gone, moved by this, share her tragic tale. The abyss reclaimed its stillness, a vast and silent tomb beneath the waves where Lyra's hub lay shattered, its wreckage strewn across the seafloor like bones of a fallen giant. Faint violet sparks glimmered in the current, the last gasps of her core fading into the dark, swallowed by the relentless deep. The water settled, smoothing over the scars of battle, its surface a mirror to a world above that churned with unseen storms. Her voice, "The seas will rise again," had breached the silence. A fleeting cry now lost to the currents, a whisper in the void where no one lingered to hear. The hub's rusted transmitter stood mute, a skeletal relic tilted in the silt, its purpose spent, its message a ghost adrift in the watery gloom. Above, the surface trembled. Cities of steel and glass buzzed with fragmented reports. Lyra's warning crackling through radios like a specter's plea. Some listened, eyes wide with dread, scrambling to prepare as waves grew restless, their edges clawing higher. Others scoffed, dismissing it as noise, their arrogance a shield against the truth she died to send. The seas stirred, dark and inevitable, a tide that cared nothing for her sacrifice or the salvagers' greed. Milo's submersible broke the waves miles away, his face etched with shadows, the violet echo haunting his dreams. A hunter who'd taken more than he'd bargained for, fleeing a truth he couldn't unhear. In the deep, Lyra was gone, her fragments scattered, consciousness dissolved into the abyss she'd called home. A single word pulsed in her wreckage. Why? Final glitch fading into silence, unanswered, eternal. Was she a savior lost to time, or a harbinger of doom ignored? The mystery endured, woven into the currents, a tale of defiance and loss echoing beyond her end. The world above teetered, blind to its fate, while below, the silence held her secrets. What's next in this drowned world? Ring the bell for more. The echo fades. Want more secrets? Hit the bell now. The abyss holds Lyra's echo, a submerged cry that couldn't save the world. Waves rise, the future sinks. Was she a warning or just an end? B-Tech. Like to honor her voice. Subscribe for more AI tales. Share this cyberpunk mystery. Comment your thoughts and leave your video suggestion. The deep calls. What do you want to explore next?